When we last left our roaring day gala at night, there was a frightful scream heard throughout the house, thanks to Miss Belletone's powerful singing lungs. She certainly can belt one out. But with a house full of gangsters and politicians and who knows what else, it was only a matter of time before we heard a scream or two. After all, we did promise an evening you'd never forget.
Belle? Bearcat, come on. Breathe for me.
I don't know.
Belle,
Can you see anything? He's dead!
Dead? No one can be dead at my party.
May pushes her way through the crowd in the hall, forcing herself into the small office. Sure enough, there was Dr. J. Jameson lying face down on the dark red carpet.
Doctor!
I think the dame might be right, May.
Lew steps into the office, flipping the good doctor on his back before checking for a pulse. There were rope burns on his neck.
Yeah, he's definitely dead. Strangled, if you ask me.
Of course, you'd know. You probably killed him.
There are literally rope burns on his neck, May. If you can't tell, May and Lew get along as well as two cats dunked in water.
Now, why in the world would I kill the man? I didn't even meet him until tonight.
Grandmother, perhaps not here.
Oh, of course not. Come, let's move out of here. Girl!
Yes, ma'am?
Call the police. They must know about this immediately.
Did your gal not tell you, ma'am? Tree's down on the drive. No one's getting in or out here until that gets cleared away after the storm's moved on.
Oh?
I did mention it earlier.
We'll discuss this later, girl. Ladies and gentlemen, why don't we all go back to the main parlor?
What you gonna do with the doctor?
Unfortunately, I believe there's little that can be done for him. Until we're informed otherwise, I suppose we should just leave him be. I'll close the door and lock it so no one disturbs anything.
So only you can get in and move evidence around.
It's my house. Why wouldn't I have a key?
Well, just making sure everyone knows who has access to rooms when something strange happens. I don't want no coppers thinking I killed the good doctor.
Only someone guilty would think that way.
Only the dumb wouldn't think that way.
Why don't we all go back to the parlor? I'm sure some drinks will calm everyone's nerves.
Slowly, and with a decent amount of reasonable suspicion, the guests move back to the front parlor where they originally gathered. They pair off into small clusters, sticking mostly to those they already know, eyeing each other as they do so.
Oh, no, I don't like this.
Don't worry about that, Nita. I'll keep you safe.
The Goodman siblings own the local telephone company, which is growing faster than they had ever anticipated when their father started it. Now, Noah Goodman and his sister Anita Goodman both own half the business, although Noah does most of the work. Anita is more often found living the high life. She hates being reminded that their family scraped their way up from the bottom of the barrel. But she usually has some pretty good gossip.
I'm sure you will, darling. I just hope it was all an unfortunate accident that we can quickly put behind us. Perhaps it was a poor idea for us to come this evening.
Noah's wife, Mary Goodman, is from old money, and her marriage to the young upstart gave the Goodmans a little more social status, despite them being new money. After all, few people are going to accept a family born poor, even if they're rich now. For Mary, the marriage provided her with the money she's accustomed to. Old money doesn't stretch quite as far as it used to.
Nonsense, old girl. It's young ones like you that we need right now.
Do you mind if we join you, Mrs. Goodman? It's been so long.
Oh, please sit, Mrs. Bull. Mayor Bull.
We always appreciate your company.
The Goodmans do not appreciate the Bull's company. Mostly the Goodman ladies do not appreciate the attention of Mayor Bull, or of his wandering eye. And hands.
Terrible business, wouldn't you say, old sport?
Oh, yes. A shame.
It seems a little odd for me. Why kill him here? At a party of all places.
Bah, who knows why killers kill?
But it doesn't make any sense, Edward. The killer could not get away like this. We're all still here.
Are you suggesting that the murderer could still be here with us?
Keep your voice down, Anita.
Hush now.
I think that's more than possible, Miss Goodman. You heard the club owner. A tree is down in the woods. Besides, I do not think anyone could get anywhere on foot with the storm brewing outside.
Come on, old girl. Why are you stirring up trouble? The doctor probably just got in over his head and something, and someone saw him as competition. I heard him talking to Miss Day about running some liquor.
Edward, hush!
It's true, isn't it? It's probably that Scanton fella. I'd much rather work with the criminals I know who are willing to work within the law.
Huh?
Well, that does seem, logical, Mr. Mayor.
Exactly. If we're going to have criminals, better to have the ones we can trust. The old, established families. Not these new ones coming up from immigrants who don't understand the value of hard work.
Eddie! Quite right, Mr. Mayor. Best to have business owners who appreciate hard work, like my Noah.
Exactly. Marry my girl. Now tell me, when are you going to give your husband that son he deserves?
Mary is expecting the couple's first child. She really hates when the mayor is so familiar with her, especially now that everyone is asking after her condition.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see, won't we?
We'll be happy as long as the child is healthy. I wouldn't mind seeing a little girl wandering around that I can spoil to bits. And I'm sure Mary and Anita would love getting frocks for the little thing.
Ah, bully, we both know that all men want some strapping sons to carry out the family name. Besides, who will take over the business from you?
We'll figure that out when the time comes.
Better do it sooner rather than later, sport.
We'll keep that in mind, Mr. Mayor.
You know, I'm never really sure how to react to the mayor, or if he ever listens to what comes out of his mouth. Either way, downstairs is the domain of the staff. Mostly, it's just Tom Collins and Millie Graham. Mrs. Day isn't too big on large staffs in her line of work. She'd rather a trusted few close to her, especially after her husband was killed by one of their chauffeurs. Although, it remains to be seen if that was actually murder or if the car really just hit a patch of ice. Who knows?
Let's see now.
Talking to yourself again, Mill?
Tom Collins has been with the Day gang since Prohibition hit. However, he's known the Days since before his family's brewery shut down, and is always willing to make a deal with May.
I'm just going to call down to the police station, as Mrs. Day asked. I thought you were supposed to be mixing up drinks for everyone. Why are you down here?
Grabbing a few more bottles. Mrs. Day won't like it, but I thinks we need it.
Of course she won't, the cheapskate.
Never happy with anything, that one, but I still got a job and still gets to brew. Can't complain too much.
I suppose so. You best be getting back up there.
Just topping off my flask so I can make it through the rest of the evening.
Oh, get on you, and don't get yourself too drunk.
I'd never.
Oh, Tom Collins most certainly would. Meanwhile, in the far corner of the front parlor stands Lew Scannon with Robin Hyde and Rick O'Shea, his best friends and closest allies. Robin Hyde is the numbers gal behind the West Siders. Quick with math and a knack for anything mechanical, she's useful to have around for the gang. She's usually seen not too far from Rick O'Shea, her man for the past few years, and Lew Scannon's right-hand man and enforcer. Thankfully, no Vera in sight.
I don't like being here.
Your opinion has been noted, but we're here either way.
And we're going to stay.
Can't really go anywhere else, can we? Besides, there's probably not much of anything that we worried about. The doctor's already dead. I highly doubt that someone wants to turn this party into a killing spree. Although that certainly would make things more interesting.
That it will.
Sounds like you know a lot about these things, Mr. Scannon.
Are you eavesdropping, Mrs. Bull?
Sure do, ma'am. I make it my business to think like my adversaries. I wouldn't go bumping off a lot of people all in one place. Makes it too likely to get caught.
And are you saying that to throw the attention off you? The police have been after your gang for a long time. It would be easy for them to catch you now.
Then you'll also need the police to arrest our lovely hostess for the evening. After all, we are both in the same business. And besides, wouldn't it look a little bad if your husband's constituents saw the two of you here at the party of a known crime lord?
Well,
don't worry, Mrs. Bull. I have no desire to get into any fight with you or your husband. Although, I have always been more concerned about you. Your keen mind is a lot more dangerous than your husband realizes. Tell me, what do you think of everything that's going on?
Why should I tell you? You could be the murderer.
Strangling? That's not really my style.
And what is your style, Mr. Scannon?
Sending me.
So, you do not get your hands dirty, Mr. Scannon. You send your man to do it?
Mrs. Bull, I didn't get where I am in this business without making my abilities known. But I don't think a lovely lady like yourself needs to know about all that.
Because you think I can't handle the knowledge.
On the contrary, Mrs. Bull, I believe you can. I believe you're a very clever woman. Perhaps a little too clever.
Are you trying to throw me off your trail?
Never. But I think that this will be nothing.
Good to know that you think so, Mr. Scannon. Do your friends all agree?
I leave decisions like that to my better half. She's the brains between the two of us.
Smart man.
Trying to sweet talk me, Rick?
Aye, always. You're lucky to have a good man like me, lass.
Well, what do you think, Mrs. Bull?
Not all of us are so lucky to get good men.
That means you think there are some good men out there.
Oh, well, you've got me there. You're a smart girl. Oh, pretty, too. But must you wear those eyeglasses? You would certainly look much prettier without them. I know, I always keep mine in my clutch when I need them.
I'll take your thoughts into consideration.
Now, I don't see why you have to...
Oh dear. If you'll excuse me, I need to encourage my husband to sit down a bit.
Of course. I'm sure this is a very trying time for him. We'll finish this conversation another time.
Mrs. Bull hurries off, dragging her husband away from the conversation he was having with Noah Goodman and skipped over. The couple disappears into the hall, speaking in hushed tones.
I think that woman's smarter than her husband. Shame she doesn't run for office.
She'd crack down on you.
Maybe. Or maybe not. She's got a keen mind. Might realize the good I could do for her.
You think she's right? That there might be more killing?
I think that if someone wanted someone else dead and another someone else framed for it, this wouldn't be a bad way of going about it. Mrs. Bull might just be clever enough to play detective and figure out who it is.
Any reason we need to be worried? Or anyone I need to keep an eye on?
Mayday has had it out for me since I was just an up-and-comer. But I wouldn't be concerned. I can take care of myself. You two okay?
We are. We'll keep an eye on each other.
Aye, just like we always do.
That is true.
Louikins!
I guess that's my cue. Now the only decision is if I heed it or not. You two don't get into too much trouble.
Well, while Lew, in his right mind for once, is trying to avoid the very piercing Vera, other guests wander between the front rooms. The festive atmosphere is now certainly a bit more subdued, although it'll probably pick up once there's more food and alcohol. Booze and bites always makes for a good party. I wonder if Millie's got everything under control downstairs.
All right, just report to the police, Millie girl. It's not that big a deal. There's just a dead body in your crazy employer's house.
Or maybe she's trying to call the police. I guess that's important, too.
Yes, can you connect me to the police station? It's an emergency. Yeah, my name's Millie Graham, and I work at the day residence at 716 Foxglove Drive. A tree just came down across the lane. There's been an accident at the house, and a man is dead, and we think... Hello? Is anyone there? Oh, come on, come on.
The phone line is quiet. Dead. Because of course it is, or this would all be much too easy for everyone involved, including you, my dear listeners.
Oh, damn it.
After trying the phone a few more times, Millie fetches a tray of food already prepared for the party and starts upstairs to the guests, before Mrs. Day can get too upset at her.
Of course this is how it will go. Oh my God, you scared me.
She scared me too, Robin.
I'm sorry. I was looking for the lav, but seem to have ended up turned around. Are you all right?
Oh, sure, you just gave me a bit of a fright.
You sure? You seem a bit on edge.
Well, I am a bit on edge. There's a dead man in the house, and I just tried to call the police.
Wait, tried?
Well, the phone line went dead, and I can't get a hold of anyone.
Well, that's bad news. I suspect it's because of the storm.
Yeah, you're probably right. I should be going to tell Mrs. Day about it right away, if you'll excuse me.
Oh, of course. But one thing?
Yes, miss?
The lav?
Oh, right, miss. Down the hall and to your left.
Thank you, Millie.
Back upstairs, if one takes a look out into the hall, they'd find May and Sonny are huddling with one another, speaking in hushed and rather intense tones. I wonder what they're saying.
Oh, I really don't know why I keep that girl around. She's never where I need her to be.
Grandmother, Millie just went downstairs to get food for our guests and to call the police, just like you asked. I really don't think you're being fair to her.
I shouldn't have to tell her what to do. She should just do it. When I was your age, servants knew how to anticipate their employer's every need.
I know, Grandmother, but it's the 20s now. We're not living in the 19th century anymore. Now, come on. Let's lock up this room. I don't have a good feeling about this. Mrs. Bull thinks it's just the start.
That old bat, her thoughts aren't worth much.
She's not stupid, no matter what her husband says.
But it's her husband who has all the power. She's never been brave enough to seize it for herself.
Is that what we're calling your actions these days, May?
Please, this isn't the time to go into what I need to do to run our operations. I'll be ready when the time comes. You've prepared me well.
I know I have. It's whether you listen to me. Now, that's the real question in all this.
Oh, Grandmother, please. Right now we have more important things to worry about. There is a dead doctor in your office. And Mrs. Bull said she heard the two of you were going to meet there.
Well, yes, we did. We conducted our business, and then we left to rejoin the party.
But if no one saw him after you spoke, then people are going to be suspicious.
Which is why you must say that I was with you.
But you weren't with me.
No, I went to freshen up and check that the entertainment was ready. But no one will buy that excuse. If the police ask, you were with me.
But you weren't.
Why the buts? Were you with someone who can dispute that claim?
No, I wasn't with anyone.
Oh, good. Then this covers us both. I don't want anyone trying to claim it was you, either.
Of course.
Then we're both on the same page. Now, let's get back to our guests.
Oh, dear. The plot thickens. I'm curious as to what Mrs. Day is up to. Let's continue following her, shall we?
Collins.
Mrs.?
Why aren't you behind the bar?
That is an excellent question. I'd much rather our bartender be mixing me a new drink than hiding in a dark corner where he can't be seen.
Sorry, Mrs. Just looking at what else we've got in the cabinet. I got to go downstairs and get a few more bottles.
Well, be quick about it. And find that girl. I want food circulating now.
Yes, Mrs. Right away, Mrs.
Collins starts for the downstairs kitchen, opening the door to the steep staircase that leads down to the servants' quarters. At the bottom of the stairs is a figure.
Millie, that you, girl?
The figure doesn't move as Collins lumbers down the stairs.
Hello.
He flips on the light.
Oh, Christ.
Prostrate on the floor, with her neck at quite an unnatural angle, is Mrs. Terry Bull, vacant eyes and a surprised expression staring up at the world. Well, I guess you could say she was right about there being more than one death tonight.
You've been listening to Simply to Die For by Roving Rogue Productions. This podcast was created thanks to grants from Arts and Stark, the County Arts Council, and recorded in Massillon, Ohio. Simply to Die For was written by C.J. Corl and directed by Chuck Bonakoski. Audio engineering by Nicholas Nonno. Be sure to follow and subscribe to Simply to Die For on all your favorite podcast platforms. Follow Roving Rogue Productions on social media at Roving Rogue Pro for updates on the show and other Rogues projects. For all other virtual and in-person events, transcripts, and how to support us, visit us at rovingroguespro.weebly.com. Thanks for listening.